The Man Whore Podcast is sponsored by the members of my fan whore community on Patreon. For just $1 a month, you can get access to private sex-positive discussion groups, exclusive bonus episodes, and the satisfaction of supporting an indie content creator. Join the club today by visiting patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. That's Patreon, patreon.com/Man Whore Podcast. Now let's get to the show.
Welcome to the Man Whore Podcast.
It's Sunday! What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Man Whore Podcast. Thanks for coming out. Give yourself another round of applause. All right. How you doing? This is what I usually ask in the beginning of all the live shows. I ask, who here does not really know what they're at? Someone dragged, yeah, this is the most amount of hands that has happened before. So I do this weird show called the Man Whore Podcast where I talk to women I've hooked up with about sex, dating, and why we didn't work out. Yeah, I don't know why I do it to myself either. That's a weird thing to do. And tonight, we're going to do 3 X's because fuck me. This is, I just really hate myself. I started the show back in April 2014 where I had this weird issue where women would sleep with me, but they wouldn't date me. And I wanted to find out why. Because, I like dating. I like relationships. I like love and cuddles and crying during This Is Us. Jack, don't go in! But for some reason, every time a woman, I wanted to take it further with a woman, she always told me she wanted to keep it casual. You know, I live in New York City. I don't know how dating is here in LA, but NYC is all about the cash. Yeah. And so want weird about that, right, is it's a typical gender role reversal, right? Isn't it like a quote-unquote chick problem that I want a boyfriend, but he just wants to fuck me. And I'm just like, yeah, me too. Right? But the even odder part is typically when someone, says, oh, I want more, and then they're like, no, I just want to bang, you part ways. But the women, when I fell for them, would say, oh, no, you're still coming over tonight. Just stop saying I love you. It's getting weird, getting very uncomfortable. So I got fed up with it. I started this show where I just, every Wednesday, asked them, why? And then they gave a lot of really good reasons. So that will, humble an individual. But I do that for your entertainment and fun and for a lot of attention of strangers. So I'm really excited that y'all came out tonight. I think we're going to have a really fun show. Another way I always like to start this is with a little icebreaker for the crowd. Raise your hand if you think you have had sex most recently in the room. We're going to define sex to be and you can define sex how you want to define it. We're going to be inclusive. Who thinks they've done it most recently? I saw some hands here. Anyone else want to compete? All right, we'll start up here. Most recently, yesterday? Okay, yes, who can beat yesterday? In the back. 10 a.m. Can anyone beat 10 a.m.? No? 5 a.m.? So close. Have you ever gone to McDonald's drunk and you're like, I hope they're still open? And you're 2 minutes, you're please, dude, I need this so bad. All right, well, can we get a free drink for the wonderful woman in the back there who's had sex at 10 a.m.? Yeah. Give it out for her. LA, maybe not as active as New York. Normally, the answer is 30 minutes ago. I'm all right, everyone, the bathroom is very large, I guess. I don't know. So it's very fun. Are you ready to get this party started, everybody? Are we ready to have a good show? We're going to have some fun. Are we ready to watch Billy just really be humbled? I cannot wait. The first guest tonight, she's also a stand-up comedian. You heard her earlier. You may have seen her on At Midnight on Comedy Central. Give a big round of applause for Jessica Lovelace Chandler, everybody.
Billy, how are you going to buy a drink for the person who had sex most recently? It should be the person who has not had sex at all recently. That's like, you buy the person who's already got things going well for them. Great, thank you. Anyway, I took the bus over here. Anybody else? Cool. I took the bus over here. It's always kind of weird in LA being the only, like, normal white girl on the bus. I don't know. To be honest, I feel like I stick out, right? Like, I feel like I'm just like, I don't know, like I got this big sign on me that just says DUI. Why you think I'm on the bus? This podcast is about sex and relationships, so let's talk about those things. I got dumped once, and while the guy was breaking up with me, he said, well, if it makes you feel any better, you're the best sex I've ever had. And I guess that should have made me feel better, but it just made me realize I must have a terrible personality. Because you do not break up with the best sex you've ever had, right? Like, you make that shit work, okay? I used to be bisexual, and I say used to be because then I married a man, and I was just not sexual. We're in the process of a divorce now. I do identify as queer, which is great because straight people don't know exactly what it means. They just know they're not supposed to say it. So I really like that. But speaking of which, I've been dating a guy, a black guy recently, and he asked me to call him the N-word in bed, which is just like Admiral Akbar comes out and is like, it's a trap, you know? I do not want to do that. Here's the thing. I don't want to say the N-word. Like, I don't know. Even when I sing along to rap songs, which I do, I'm so white. I know I'm not allowed to say the N-word, okay? Like, I'm not even sure I'm allowed to hear the N-word. The shade of makeup I wear, and this is not a joke, the shade of makeup I wear is called Alaska. It is second, no, there's two more below it. One is Iceland, and the other one's the cast of Wings. Y'all are young, you know, okay. I'm from Wings time. Anyway, so lately I've been watching porn and clicking on links that I'm not even interested in. Do you guys ever do this? But it's like, I want to make sure it's not me. Because, I don't know, it's hard to tell from the thumbnail. I did a lot of stupid shit in my 20s, right? A lot of revenge porn out there. I don't know what I look like from behind, you know? Very well could be. I'm a feminist and I love porn, so sometimes what I like about Billy is I think you consider yourself a feminist somewhat as well. We'll talk about it in a couple minutes. Anyway, so it is kind of sometimes problematic, but the thing I realized is I'm not mad about the sex acts in porn. I'm just sometimes mad about the setup, right? Like, I saw one the other day that was like, fuck me, then come on a picture of me. It's like, look, it's cool if you want to come on her face, but don't come on her headshots. She spent a lot of money on those. We got some actors in the room, don't we? That's just not cheap. Yeah. I wonder if she had a resume stapled to the back. Very strange stuff. I used to be a vegan. Do we have any vegans in the house? Where are we? I thought we were in LA.
I don't want vegans at my show, so I'm very happy with that.
Okay. No, I used to be a vegan. Being a vegan is kind of, it's weird. It's like you're not allowed to eat anything. Being a vegan is like having an eating disorder, only people commend you on it. Like when I was anorexic, nobody was ever like, hey, that's really cool what you're doing for the world. But I mean, they probably should have said that. Because I was really skinny and pretty. I'm pretty sure that's what we need more of in this world. I am by far not the prettiest girl in this room, so that joke felt awkward for me. I know we were talking about things to say in bed. There's one phrase that always really bothers me. It's, I want to fuck the shit out of you. I mean, maybe I'm reading it too literally. But like, I don't know. I would never say to someone like, I want to suck the piss out of you. Because it's gross. Like, let's not talk about bodily functions, okay? Like, beyond that, I don't know. Like, here's the thing. I can get the shit out of me just fine. I'm good at that. So if you're going to fuck something out of me, have it be something I can't get rid of. Like, hey, baby, I want to fuck the abandonment issues out of you. All right, I'm Jessica. Thank you, Billy, for letting me do a little stand-up.
Give it going for Jessica, everybody.
Yeah.
All right.
Can I
Come
sit
have a
here?
seat. Yeah.
All right.
We're farther away if you can't stand me.
Well, I'm here, so let's do it.
I like that there are no vegans here because about a month ago I got my first ever rape threat on Twitter because I was making fun of vegans on Twitter. And he was just like, "Yeah, hey, if I'll let it pass this time, but if we ever take over the world, I'm going to peg you without your consent." I'm like, "You won't have the energy. It's fine."
I like how it's peg you without your consent rather than just peg you.
Yeah.
Very specific.
Yeah.
I like that you can tell you're a dude because you just got your first rape threat on Twitter. Like
know.
a woman signs up for Twitter and they send her an email that's like, hey, rape threat, you know?
And then, of course, like the typical dude, I'm like, I got one rape threat. So I get it.
Exactly.
I totally understand your experience
Exactly. You totally do.
Well, you brought up let's set some context.
Yeah, okay.
Well, Jessica's been on the podcast before a few years ago, and we covered how we met, which was back when I was in college.
I was in second college.
You were in second college,
right,
yes.
Right.
You very aggressively picked me up at a comedy club where we were both very unfunny young comedians.
I was funny. I was drunk, but I was funny, and you looked so young. You looked like 20. You probably were 20.
I was 20. And you were all like, "Hi, you're 20. Hello."
20-year-olds do nothing for you, but they're so cute.
I mean, I tried, but
no, that's not actually what happened. Are you gonna fill the rest
I
of
did
the
I did exactly what I was asked to after. Okay.
I don't remember. You remember way more of this than I do, by the way. I was drunk, like I said, very, very drunk.
If y'all introduce yourselves after the show, I will not remember your name tomorrow. My memory's bad like that, but I will remember everything we talked about. So I will also remember like everything we did in bed. But if I forget your name, I'm like, that kind of fits for me. We went out for drinks and we went back to her dorm room.
It wasn't a dorm room; it was a student apartment.
Whatever. Is there a difference?
Yeah, because we didn't have like a RA or anything, but I did have a twin-size bed. So
yeah, that's a dorm room. That a student apartment sounds like what you tell someone who doesn't go to school, so they will come.
No,
home with you.
we could have alcohol and stuff because it wasn't a full-on apartment. It wasn't just. I was 25. It was a student apartment. Whatever.
Well,
This is why people don't like you, Billy. All right.
You know what? Here's the weird thing about my likability. I'm very unlikable, and I know this.
It's true.
But it's a very specific type because a lot of people do like me, but each of them thinks they're the only one who does. They're like, I think Billy, he's a great guy. I don't know why everyone hates him. It's funny. Well, so you wanted to bring me up to fuck me, and I said, like, I don't fuck on the first encounters. And you were like, stop being such a chick. And I got up.
Right.
And your floor was, I didn't see a floor. I was very concerned with what I was.
Have you seen my current room?
Well,
it's exactly the same.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I'm messy. I don't, and actually, I like that.
No. Messy is fine. I don't care about a messy room. Some women will say, like, if you want a date, they go like, we can't go up to my place. It's like so messy. I'm like, it's fine. But on the flip side, if a dude ever tells you can't go back to his place to fuck because it's too messy, there's a dead body. Okay, I promise. That's not an excuse to not do it. However, you had like your sheets half off the mattress, stained. There's like all sorts of empty contain. I literally couldn't see your floor. I'm stepping over shit just to get to your bed. I'm like. Yeah, and then you were like really aggressive about me not fucking you.
I know, we talked about it. I feel really terrible. This is like when we talk about, gender roles and you're like, I get it. This is where I'm like, I get it, to be like realizing it's hard to be called out that you've been kind of rapey. It's hard to be called out on that.
Yeah.
So like white guys, I feel you now,
I think you're also just like, I get it. Like, I'm really horny. I want sex. Why can't I just demand that from someone?
Well, I think for women too, there is that double standard where we're taught like, well, guys always want. I mean, it is true of guys that are taught like women are just saying no, but for women too, we're like taught that guys always want it, and it's about if we can't get it, it's because we're not doing something right. So it's very
making
much
the
like,
bed was the thing not being done right.
Hey.
Laundry, some simple cleaning. I'm a pig. I have a partner in the room who
Really?
like
This was the big problem. There were let's not get.
that was one of a few.
Oh man, you really missed out over some bed sheets, dude.
It was more than some bed sheets.
There's plenty. Okay, whatever.
Okay.
We're not.
We
We
don't-
are going there, but let's.
we don't have
pretend
to.
we're-
We've been there before, but
Have we?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's been a couple years.
I
Where do
know
you wanna
this is
go?
always this is funny because it's like Billy gets on stage right before this and it's like, oh, why am I doing this to myself? I'm going to be so ashamed, and then he shames 3 women. And I'm like,
I've shamed one woman so far.
So
I don't know.
far.
Yeah.
No, I was so nervous to be here because first of all, it's really hard talking about a night that you don't remember.
Do you want to elaborate on the whole like you not remembering those days of
Well, I was
sexuality?
just drinking a lot. I was very depressed and in New York City alone and just drinking a lot. And I will say for my 30s, I'm in almost to my mid-30s. And what's nice is I feel like sober sex is really cool. I didn't have that really. I mean, in relationships, you had sober sex. But I never had sober, like, hookups until very recently. And it's a whole different thing. And I think part of it is I'm not shy about what I want. I'm not shy about who I am. I'm proud of my body. It's not perfect, but I'm proud of it. I know people like it. I know I like it. You know, things like that. And I think when I was young, it was really... Sex was still terrible. I didn't have sex till after high school. I actually was with a woman first. That was my first sexual experience. And I had been very just uninterested in sex my whole life. And then when it kind of started unfolding, I was terrified of it and intrigued by it at the same time. And I think you probably can relate to that.
I can relate too. You know what? I like sober sex, great. You know what I don't like? Sober flirting.
Really?
Yeah. Tipsy flirting, fantastic. And then lasts long enough so we can go have sober sex after.
Touche. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
you know,
Okay.
like sober flirting.
Go have McDonald's at 5 a.m. and then no, not so much. Okay.
I mean, what happens? I mean, this has been cock blocking me personally the last few 6 months, where I've just been eating like total dog shit, and it's been fucking with my libido. Because like I'll be like, oh, my head's like, I want to have sex, and my body's like, no, you don't.
Yeah, right.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
You want Cheetos. You want Cheetos.
So you do know what it's like to be on your period then?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Like we can dive into the whole gender thing. I'm very confused
Yes,
these days.
I like that actually. That's very well. I've dated. I don't know if I told you. So actually, the person I was with, like I said, was with a woman who later then came out as trans and is a male. But it's always hard to describe that situation because at the time he was a woman and that's how I had always known him, and he was my first girlfriend. And I asked him, I was like, do I refer to you as my ex-boyfriend or do I refer to you as my ex-girlfriend? But I've always very much liked gender ambiguous kind of aspects of people, not even necessarily a look, because you don't look gender ambiguous to me.
No, I
But
look like the enemy.
Right, exactly. You look like the brute. Like you look like the,
I look like Officer, he did it.
Oh, it's funny because it's true.
Well, yeah,
yeah.
the whole gender norm thing is fucking with me recently because like I'm not a man, really.
I know, right? You're really not though.
Yeah, but like I'm also happy with this whole cock situation. So I don't.
God,
know.
if I had a penis, I would not be here right now. I would be fucking every single, not even like people. I would be fucking like the outlet to the like on the wall. Oh my God, I would love to have a penis.
Well, you'd have if you were fucking the outlet, you'd have a penis for a very minimal amount of time before that thing's gone.
Fair enough. But that's why I don't have a cock out.
I mean, similarly, like I'm curious about like. I want a vagina. I want to like rent a vagina. I don't want to chop off and get a new one. I just want one I can temporarily have. Because I'm very curious the sensation of being fucked. Because ass stuff, I know what that feels like, but I feel like that's different. You tell me.
Well, and it is. It's very different. And actually, I think part of what I've always liked about being queer and being, with women is that you can have the best of both worlds. I can be fucked and fuck. I can be with someone who has a vagina and has like 10 different dicks in their drawers. Like, what are you in the mood for tonight? Yeah. It's more diverse and ultimately, I always say this: being with someone who knows your body, obviously in a relationship that can happen, but also just being someone who knows how a body of that type works inside and out is amazing. And queer sex has consistently been the best sex across the board for me.
It looks so fun.
It's really fun. It's dealing with the women that come along with it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you know this, women are crazy. Dudes are crazy too.
I didn't say
Dudes
it.
I did. Dudes are crazy in a different. Dudes are crazy in a different way, and what I think is funny is like I've heard many straight women say, "I wish I was a lesbian because it'd be so much easier," which I think is hysterical. Because you take two people that are very passive aggressive, often manipulative, can be over dramatic, can be like, well, sure, you pick dinner, I don't care, that kind of thing. And when you put them together, it's not like it cancels out; it just magnifies. And I think the nice thing about men is they're to me. I don't necessarily agree with they're easier to like manipulate. Is that a terrible thing to say?
I mean, like probably, but who cares? That's the thing. You say something shitty about men, like it's like, yeah, but also
we
like,
get it.
Now.
It's hard to be a guy, Billy.
Yeah.
We get it. 2018. It's like so hard to be a guy. You can't say anything. No, I'm just
I think
kidding.
I think that's all crap when people say that. But I do just enjoy that. Like you can totally openly shit on men, and it's like. It's fine, and like even I, as a guy, think it's fine.
Well, if I can have like 30% more pay, you can shit on me. How about that? We'll trade off, okay?
I am a very poor stand-up comedian. Look at. Do you see a sold-out room? Like you think I can pay you 30% more?
I see the best audience possible.
I see the best audience. Woo! I'm just saying, like you think I got the money to pay you the extra 30?
No, but I mean that actually is part of what we're talking about here with gender differences and just I guess in general the power politics of everything is it is the idea of punching down, although not necessarily when we're talking about sex punching unless you're into that sort of thing, but it is the idea that like when you're higher in stature in a societal sense, like it's okay to be shit on versus shitting on someone else, because in a sense your existence shits on me every day. Pretty soon I'm not gonna be able to get birth control because Mike Pence and his mom don't want me to or whatever.
Tuesday we're voting, so
okay.
We're gonna keep our fingers crossed.
We are.
Well, look, I slightly disagree. I don't think it's okay, but I'm also fine with it. Like I logically don't think it's okay, but I'm like, there's so many more things to deal with.
Okay, I feel you on that. And that's actually, it's good to hear that. I appreciate that. Because that's a really, it is really frustrating, I think, for women. And I'm not a woman of color, obviously, but it is really frustrating for women to hear like, well, you don't understand what it's like to be a man or whatever. So for you to be able to put that in a way that I don't understand, but that is not like poor me, I think that's a really cool thing. So.
I'm rarely poor me like poor men. I'm like just poor me, poor Billy.
Yeah.
I don't care about men that much. They're the ones who were the worst to me my whole life. I really don't care.
So there should really just be 3 guys who hate you.
That's not a bad idea. That's brilliant. I have thought about having like, there was one kid growing up who was like the ringleader, but I got shit on by so many people. But there was one who was like the head. I thought about having him on the show, but doing a live one.
That would be really fun.
Yeah,
I would come to that. I barely came to this, but I would definitely come to that.
What's interesting, you bring up the gender stuff because I was just at this like conference this past weekend for like indie creators, and they had name tags and they also had stickers that you could choose that had different pronouns. So you could say if you want he, him, or she, her. If you want they, them.
PGP. preferred gender pronouns.
Yeah, sure. I don't have time for more acronyms to memorize. I agree. Fine.
Okay.
But I chose the he, him ones, but then I also grabbed a Sharpie and I just drew an arrow to it and I said, I genuinely don't know.
Right.
The whole concept of gender, as I talk to more non-binary and genderqueer and other labels, I still don't know. It's making me question, like, am I? Because I know I don't fit the expectations of my gender, and I'm okay with like this guy down here for most of the time. I'm really just not okay with the concept of gender, but if gender's going to remain, then I don't think I fit in it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, my thing with gender is that I think that it can be the gender itself can be broadened without necessarily it needing to be how do you say this? Because I'm very pro-trans, but at the same time, I want you to.
You can't say I'm very If you say I'm very pro-trans, the next word can never be but.
But okay, fair enough. No, I am pro-trans. I guess what I'm saying is I want it to be okay to, and I've talked to a lot of now out trans people who were like, well, I wasn't a stereotypical woman, and I want that to be okay to be a woman if you identify as a woman, but not be a, quote, stereotypical woman.
Right.
And I want there to, and I guess for me, like, I think the idea of just opening up gender is a great way for us to start as well. There are people that are gender non-binary that are truly not, that don't identify as either for sure. But I also think it's great if we acknowledge that there is no woman. There is no, this is what it is to be a woman. This is what it is to be a man. Because I think that's where we got into all this mess in the first place. Yeah.
Matt, I see the red light. We all see the red light. When you said when I said light us at, I meant like wave a cell phone.
Roxanne.
Everyone, my producer Matt Slayer, everybody from the And Now We Drink podcast. Give him a hand for making it awkward.
Yeah.
He's doing great. And we don't know what you said, buddy.
I'll stroke you. I don't give a fuck.
Okay.
Stroke you?
Stroke me? Dude, I mean, I didn't hire you for that.
He'll stroke you with your consent, as opposed to peg you without.
Sure, why not? Yeah. I'll put it this way, like, I've been... You want...
What is that?
This?
Yeah.
This is a whiskey.
Oh, I left my drink off stage. I'll get
Would
it in
you
a minute.
would you like a drink?
Yeah.
What would you like?
A vodka Red Bull.
Could we please get a vodka Red Bull for the
You want
lady?
me to do my joke? Okay, a vodka Red Bull. What? I like it because it's both an upper and
You already had
a
your time to
okay.
do bits.
All right, I'm done. That's why I took you home. I wanted to keep doing my bits.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm terrified.
Full circle.
You were like a first experience for me in that. So I didn't want to have sex, but I don't like to limit sex has to be the P and the V. It's like, let's do other things.
I'm giggling.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Because I'm a 15-year-old.
What do you want me to say? Intercourse? That's going to be like way weirder.
That's what my mom said.
The intercourse is a word like said by murderers, in my opinion.
Like my mom. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
That makes sense.
What'd
Yeah.
you call my mom? A murderer?
Murderer, yeah. Making a Murderer, season 2. Not too good, in my opinion.
Netflix just disowned you, Billy. You'll never get them as a sponsor.
God damn it. But no, so we go up there, and so I'm like, well, what else could we do? So like we're making out, and we do some of the fingering stuff, and then you're like, I'm gonna take care of this, and then you hand me this big purple dildo or vibrator, and you're like, I want you to fuck my ass with
green.
it.
I
Was it green?
just threw it away finally.
I should clarify, this hookup happened in 2010.
It was when you find, it's like finding the right pair of shoes. Like when you find, women, back me up. When you find that perfect dildo, the vibrator part breaks. It won't, like the batteries part doesn't work anymore, but you still you found that perfect soulmate and you don't get rid of it.
First world problems. Oh, my vibrator stopped vibrating. Now I can just fuck myself with it. But I was semi-terrified. I was 20 years old, and no one had ever. I hadn't really done butt stuff, and then I was asked to not just do some butt stuff, but take a big vibrator and just fuck you with it while you play with it. So I'm just I have this face I don't know. Am I doing this right? Can someone help me? I don't.
So what you're saying is I'm the reason we're here right now. I'm the reason you're a man whore, is what you're saying? I will take full credit.
I did not say that.
That's what I heard. So, yep.
It's funny. You were calling me a sociopath in the back, and yet you're the one who's like, it's all about me.
That's not sociopath necessarily. Anyway,
I don't know what sociopath is because my last 2 ex-girlfriends keep calling me it on Facebook, and
I'm pretty sure if wait, was I the third person though?
that's why it was so.
If
that's why I threw my phone.
people call you a sociopath, it's like Beetlejuice. You say it 3 times,
and it's true.
Yeah, you're true. Yeah.
I don't know, and it's weird because don't we a lot of us do that? Like we'll try to diagnose our exes after we break up. To anyone else?
I do it while I'm with them. I just don't take it as a red flag. I'm like, oh, it's fine. He's bipolar. He doesn't know his...
And how's that been working out for you?
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly. Here we are. All right. Talking to a guy I didn't even fully hook up with once on stage. Things are going great for me.
Yeah, you're doing awesome. You're doing.
Yeah.
Isn't she doing great, everybody?
Thank you guys for being here. This is really fun. I was very scared, and this is really fun.
Why were you scared?
Because I'm scared of you.
Why? I'm scared of you.
Really?
Yeah, you.
Oh my God, we're like the elephant and the mouse or whatever.
I crashed at Jessica's place the other night because I'm very poor, and so I spent a night crashing on the couch, and there's like 2% of me where I'm like, I might get murdered. I don't know.
What? No,
because I don't trust people who are as positive and smiley and happy as you.
Oh, well, that's because that's the antidepressants. But no. I'm just always scared, and then, like I said, it's partially because I don't remember what happened. That like I'm scared you're gonna drop some like, oh, and then this happened, and be like, that's totally I don't remember that.
What were you? What were you worried I was gonna drop?
I don't know, and that's the thing. Like I don't mind talking personal details like that. I'm prepared to remember.
Well, how about this is one you can remember? Well,
yeah.
let's do this one. How did you did the podcast 2.5 years ago? How
that long ago?
Yeah,
wow.
Last time it was in March 2016 before the world went to shit.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
And how did you feel like me asking you after we did the podcast?
Well, I was kind of joking. You had one of your fans was downstairs earlier. I was kind of joking with a couple of them. I like that you made me feel very safe. Is it okay if I share?
Yeah.
Is it okay if I share that you? So before Billy does the podcast, he does ask, "Is it okay if we talk about? Is there anything that you absolutely don't feel comfortable talking about?" Which I think is really great because you've set up this consensual place, which is ideally you're a sex positive podcast, and that's the whole point. But I was saying, like, when you set that up, then we're like, oh, I'm in a safe space. So, like, it feels like when you slide right in there with those personal questions and are penetrating with those very personal questions, I'm like, oh, it's fine. Everything's great. So I don't remember even in that's the thing. Like, a lot of times in the moment, I don't remember what I'm saying. So, like, I've never listened to any of the podcast episodes because people talking is already hard enough to do in real life for me to listen to. But, like, when they're on but
I'm the sociopath. I can't even listen to people, let alone emote for them.
Right? No. But also, I definitely didn't want to listen to the one I was on. I was very nervous about that. And like, I've watched me on Comedy Central. I've watched me on like the videos that I have or whatever. That doesn't bother me. But for some reason, listening to me talk about like just my life sounded very, and not like pre-written stuff, sounded very scary to me. But so I don't remember exactly what we talked about, but I felt very comfortable doing it. I felt like you made it a very comfortable experience and a fun experience, which honestly I wasn't expecting. When I agreed to do your show, it was only because I was worried you would talk about me without me if I didn't do it. And so I was like, well, I might as well be there. He basically told me that was what would happen. He was like, well, I'm going to talk about what happened so you can be there or not. So
did I do that?
That's the sociopath.
Did I do that?
Part.
Or am I just a very aggressive booker? Like,
I'm an aggressive taker-homer, I guess.
Yes,
so
you
like
are.
we both have those aspects of us.
Oh,
Another light.
I think Matt is telling us to move it along, which is weird because it's my fucking show.
Fine.
But okay. Jessica Lovelace Chandler, everyone. She's going to be staying on stage. While I bring on my next guest. Yeah, you're going to move down one. Our next guest has also been on the show before. You're going to get your drink real fast? Okay, I'll kill a little time. It's fine. Well, I want to give a brief shout out to my the sponsor of this episode, MotorBunny.com. If you don't know, anyone here knows the Motor Bunny?
It sounds amazing. What is it?
The Motor Bunny, it's a ride-on-top vibrator that changes your life. Man, woman, whatever, like, it's excellent. If you have a hole, it's so good to put in. It's a fun time.
Spokesperson, Billy Procida. Woo!
If you have a hole, it's like ride-on-top vibrator. So it's like, imagine like a boat engine with a dildo on it. It's essentially what it is. And you can turn the dial from like 1 to 11. It's just very intense and makes men useless. The only use like a guy has with the Motor Bunny really is just like you hold the dial. That's about all it is. And it's very intense. It goes... I had my ex-girlfriend actually, I saw subtweeted me a couple months after the breakup. And I shit you not, it said, it didn't tag me. It was just like, I don't know if I dated him because I liked him or just for the Motor Bunny. And I was like, that's the best endorsement of the Motor Bunny ever.
That actually is a really good,
Yeah. My favorite part is that you can finance it.
Like layaway? You can lay away the Motor
No.
Bunny?
Finance it like a car. Like you get it, but then you're doing, you can do
Isn't
installments.
that what layaway is for poor people? Never mind.
I think layaway is like you claim it and then you make payments, and when you're done, you get it.
Okay. We won't semantics.
It's,
Okay.
Yeah, this isn't a
Yeah.
finance podcast. But you can. I like the concept, like making payments on a sex toy just for the repo opportunity 2.5 years later. Some big burly dude knocks on your door with a clipboard. He's like, "Yeah, I'm here for the fuck toy. You missed some payments." And be like, "You go ahead and take it. I have not watched it at all. Have fun."
That's funny.
So if you're interested, you go to motorbunny.com. You can get $50 off when you use promo code MANWHORE at checkout. I want to thank them for making this show happen.
I'm very intrigued. I'm going to look it up after.
Yeah. And now for the next guest. She's been on the podcast as well before. We briefly dated many years ago. Let's get a round of applause going for Alexa, everybody. Alexa, come on up here. While you're coming up, Matt, can you check my phone real quick? Is there a text from Jennifer yet or no? Don't worry about it. It's fine.
You're with two other women
no
asking if
text.
there's a text from another woman? That's
Well, you know,
just fucked up.
stereotypical poly guy, right? Just being like...
I feel very sandwiched. You know what I mean?
Would you like me to move further away?
No, it's
I can
fine.
do that. I know you don't want to date me. I get it.
No, it's fine.
But-
It's fine. We're good.
Well, Alexa, hello again.
Hi.
Haven't seen you in a few years.
Hello.
Yeah. I guess I want to start with the same question I ended with Jessica. Is like, you've done the podcast actually twice. And when I first asked you to do it, like it was a few years after we dated. What was the thought?
Me?
Yeah.
I was down because it was casual. It wasn't in front of people in a bar.
You know,
It was also in a bar. It was in the basement level of some bar, and you complained later. You were like, "Oh, the sound was terrible." I'm like, "No shit, Sherlock. We're
it was
fucking recording a
episode 14.
podcast in a bar."
I'm a little new. I was new
Anyway,
to it.
so yeah, I mean, I was down. We just sort of talked about personal
Us.
things, and I was like, all right, I thought, I was like, oh gosh, I have to change my name, and now I'm like, I don't give a
What was so funny is you didn't change your name, but you did ask me to change the spelling. And I don't know how many different ways they were spelled Alexa, so I was like, Elexa?
That's a good, yeah.
and everyone was fooled, right?
Yeah, they had no idea. It's like, I thought it was Alexa, but the name is totally spelled differently.
Yeah.
But there's not a weird thing to hear from a dude you dated 3-4 years prior, and it's like, why does he want to talk
Hold
on
on, let's talk
microphone?
about the term dating here.
Yes.
Let's talk about this.
Well, we definitely weren't
You're like
fucking.
3 exes. I'm like, we were never boyfriend what Hold on, what is an ex?
Well,
what is an
'cause
ex? What is
if you see-
dating? What are these meanings
We
of these
never
words?
even had sex. So we didn't get to that part, but no,
Look,
we didn't.
it's anyone I've hooked up with in some capacity. I define hooking up as like
Hooked
a
up?
deep makeout.
But that doesn't make them an ex. Everyone
Well,
you've
an
ever
ex-partner,
hooked up
an
with.
ex-lover, an ex...
or an expert.
Ooh. You just lost your comedy card with that pun. If you notice, there's not a lot of space for one stage, one man, 3 women he's kind of hooked up with, made out with in some capacity because, hey, sex is fluid and it can be whatever you want it to be. So 3X is just a little. It's better marketing.
Whatever, fine. But I wouldn't say we're exes. I think we are we dated. Like we went on 2 dates and then
More than 2
and then I
days.
pawned you off on my friend.
You foisted Billy?
I did not
did.
foist. I basically was
It
like
was less of a hoist. It's like you two conspired to date me at the same time.
We did, but we were also both in the mindset of like we just got out of long-term relationships. We just wanted to fool around with somebody, and you seemed the perfect candidate.
And therein lies the problem.
That's how we started this podcast? That's how you
Honestly, your friend Lee, who was also on the podcast, that she was one of the standout people where I think like, why am I not dateable? And I know you both were just had long-term relationships, but shortly after her and I stopped, seeing each other, she did get a boyfriend, So it makes me think like, what's it about me? And then also, what's about me that I give off this vibe where like I'm just a fuckboy?
No, it wasn't that. It's just that's the mindset that we were in.
You were in,
and
but then why was I a
happened to be
perfect-
there, and we were like, oh, he's cute, he's
We
funny.
were living in New York City. There were a lot of guys who happened to be there.
I know, but and I, we were just kind of like we were good girls. We didn't go out that often. We just kind of like we did what we did, but we weren't crazy or anything.
Well, we went on like actual dates as opposed to Lee. Like I think on Lee's first date with me, like she jerked me off on the street corner in New York City.
Good to know, I guess.
Yeah, there was a very public hand job involved.
That's fine.
I actually, in light of Louis C.K. stuff, I actually do have to talk to her about that. I'm curious. I have questions to ask. No, I did not whip it out of nowhere. I should clarify. This is being recorded,
Wait,
right?
you forced her to watch you masturbate? Is that what happened?
No, but I'll put it this way. Like, if someone's grabbing my cock over my jeans and we're in a heavy makeout and it's clear against sexual, at some point I might like do the unzip to like lead away. And then if she'll either she goes in or she doesn't go into the jeans. And so that's kind of what happened on 51st Street between 9th and 10th. I have
There's
a weird
there's a
memory.
plaque
He remembers
there now.
exactly where too. That's crazy.
Yeah, if you get a hand job in the middle of New York City, you kind of remember. 16th Street between 3rd and Lexington also has a happy memory for me. So it's a lot of spots stained by Billy Procida in Manhattan.
Yeah.
But like we like I wanted to go on dates with you. You're sweet, you're funny, you're super hot. Like
You're beautiful.
right?
I feel uncomfortable.
Thank you, guys.
You know, it's really fun. So I did a live show in New York City a couple months ago, and I had an intern at the time, and she took an Instagram shot of all 3 of the women on stage without my knowing on my own Instagram, and just wrote, "Can we just talk about how does Billy hook up with so many hot women?" I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
You were kind of cute at one point, though.
Yeah. See, like you were there.
What? Am I at least marginally cute now?
Yes.
Yes, you are. You were just like, you're older. So
He's got it.
So are you.
older and wiser. So here we are.
He's got the pretty blue eyes.
You've got beautiful
Cute
eyes. I was
smile.
just thinking that, yeah.
He's
and
adorable.
A dimple. He has a dimple.
Yeah, he's got a dimple.
One singular half dimple, yes. No, but like I mean, we had a lot of overlap. So what? I mean, I guess back then, what was your thoughts when we were going out? Because like we weren't fucking. You weren't like a casual sex person.
Well,
at the time.
I was trying. I was attempting.
Oh, hold on. We have a. Oh, thank you so much. You're such a sweetheart. What? Yeah. You had the boyfriend who wouldn't fuck you. I totally forgot.
Yeah, I had a boyfriend for 8 years that didn't want to have sex with me.
So you were married too.
No.
Pretty much, I was married
Yeah,
without
that's the worst.
any of the benefits. It was weird.
Yeah. Like what the
Or
fuck?
man,
was
the
that?
marriage. I never had that either.
Yeah. So what was that about? Why wasn't he having sex with you?
I have no idea. It's
still
his thing.
don't?
I still really. It was a him thing. I guess he was scared. I suppose. I
Yeah, but
don't know.
look, you can be scared for like a few months, a couple years. 8 years?
You want to call him? Well,
Yes.
ask
Wait,
him.
wait. Did he really not? You didn't have sex at all, or just
No.
not frequently?
No, he just never did for 8 years.
Was he super Christian?
No.
Was he gay? Everyone asked you that. No, everyone asked you
No,
that.
he's
I'm sure.
happily with another girl right now.
But you're so hot.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I moved away from him. And
Do you feel uncomfortable being sandwiched between two people who think you're hot?
I feel, yeah. up?
I mean, I know Jessica will end up winning, but still, like, I
Wait,
want to
will
put the
I?
fight. You know, it's
You guys. No, I'm happy for him because I found somebody too. So it's
you
fine.
do have one of those boyfriend things now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was funny. Is I just saying that thing, but during the pre-interview, I said, "So how do we identify sexual orientation wise?" And you were like, you just started giggling because I didn't even ask. I just said, "You still identify as straight, right?" And you just giggled like a teenager.
Well-
and now you have two different. Sorry.
Oh,
Drench me with whiskey,
dripping
why
on
don't you?
her.
Jeez.
I'm so nervous. I know there's still one more woman left to come up here. It's not going to get easier for me.
No, yeah. So I don't know. You get older and you're like, but what's the other side like? You know, and you're always. I think everyone always has a spectrum. There's always a spectrum for people, and so I think over time, I got so fed up with some dudes in my life. I was like, you know what? I enjoy hanging out with women. It would probably be fun, and women are beautiful, and I have found women beautiful in my life.
Was it fun?
I have never genuinely hooked. I just kissed.
Jessica's like,
Hey, what's up? I'm Jessica. Nice to meet you. Sorry.
I've want actually the way in which I met the guy that I'm dating now is I was actually so fed up with dudes that I was about to hook up with a woman, and then I met him. I was like, that's
that
very
poor
tease.
woman. who-
I know, right? Right? She's listening right now. She's very angry.
It's like we almost got one more rainbow flag in the world, and then she didn't start dating another dude. It's
So that's how I don't know. Everyone has a spectrum, and I applaud that. That's cool.
I'm understanding that. I've had some guests on the podcast recently where I just be like, "Fuck, I have to think about this now." Shit. Yeah, well, there've been some there's like one. Man, do I want I don't want to name, but also fuck. If I say anything specific about it, there was a trans woman who was on the podcast recently who was like, I have a lot of journaling to do now. I got to rethink some things. She's beautiful and super fun and funny, like connected. I'm not just talking about she was a hot. There's plenty of hot trans women in the world.
Yep.
But I was like, we connected. Where I'm like, are we going to go out? This is.
See, that's the thing for me, and you're right. There is a spectrum. For me, I have always felt in the middle of it. I don't think everyone's bi or anything, but sometimes it really is just about that connection that you make, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, whatever it is. Yeah.
And we all know me. I'm all about that emotional connection that no one wants to connect back with.
That's hold on. I haven't caught up. What happened with you and Paige? I thought that was cute.
Oh, jeez, you uttered the name that's going to get me tweeted about.
Oh, we're talking. Oh, is that the subtweeter?
Oh, no, that's a different ex.
Anyway, he dated this really
This is
cute
how
girl.
he's had this podcast this long. There's 80 exes. Sorry,
I know there's a lot. There's this really cute girl that he was in photos with, and it
Yeah.
was going really well, and then all of a sudden it was not. So
It did
I don't know how. I just
girl.
want to know what happened.
All right, I don't care if I get texts from her about this. I dated someone for 22 months.
That's a long time.
That's my longest real relationship.
I like how you do it in months instead of 2 years.
I mean, I almost made it to 2.
Okay.
And we met at a sex party, as one does. Which, if anyone here is looking at me and be like, he was at a sex party, I agree. I don't think I belong there either.
That's not even true. He would tell me he would go and find orgies off of Craigslist.
Yeah, and I'm always shocked when they allow me to go. Look at me. My body type is orgy alternate. It's
Orgy adjacent.
orgy adjacent. It's I get an invite because Kevin had to cancel. It's fine. I'm happy to be there. I'm gonna work hard. But this really cute girl comes up to me, right? And she says hi, you look like someone I know. And she was super bubbly and cheery and cute and positive. And I'm this usually sad, angry comic guy in the city. And we just started talking. We connected. We talked for hours. I think 3-4 hours. We were just talking, which is weird because everyone around us is butt fucking, and we're just making out and talking about our favorite books.
Aww.
So it's
We were just on.
yeah,
That's cute.
yeah. I felt like everyone was staring at us, being like, "What are those lesbians doing?" But we did we fooled around a bit. We just took turns to going down on each other and cuddling. And when we would cuddle, there were 2 men blowing each other right next to me, like touching shoulders. And it was great. Afterwards, I was like, "Hey, there's an what was that?" Yeah, it was one of the best. It's probably it's the best meet cute I, as a slutty podcaster guy,
What
could
did he
think
say?
of. Meet cute.
Meet cute?
Yeah.
It's like the moment in which a guy and girl meet and they
Oh, I thought
or
you
a
meant.
person on the
or whatever. A person.
I thought you meant MEAT, like meat, like.
Oh, now you're making me hungry. No, it was like by the end of it, I think at like 5 a.m. Because this party always runs late.
Sorry, I just had the thought in my brain. You guys know the like West Side Story when it all like they meet each other or they see each other for the first time. They're walking towards each other and everybody's still dancing in the background, but it's all slow motion. Now I have the thought in my head where it's like a sex party. Everyone's like having sex slowly in the background while they're walking towards one another naked, and
The
they're just
Instagram hearts filter starts surrounding us.
Funny. That is funny. That's a good sketch.
Oh yeah, let's write it. No.
Like, anyway, I'm sorry.
We
Go
won't give
on.
it credit. No.
But like, so this party always goes late. In the email they send out, they always say the rule is you have to leave by 10 a.m. unless you have permission to stay to sleep over. And
I never knew how orgies worked. I'm learning so much right now. This is cool.
Hacienda is very organized.
Remind me, what's the difference between an orgy and a sex party? Are they the same
Oh,
thing?
that's such a great question. I love this one because I've had so many debates about this, and we've some friends and I have come to a consensus that an orgy is kind of a cluster of people. Like this table right here, like you guys could be a little orgy, right? Like you guys are a cluster,
right.
And the orgy could take place in the like we could all be having a sex party right now, and then that could be an orgy in the. It's like a unit of measurement.
So an orgy is like, yeah, okay, I like that.
Like 5 or more people can be an orgy if they're all in a little like cuddle puddle orgy bowl.
Puddle. Oh Lord, did you just come up with that, or is that a thing?
That's a thing.
Oh Lord.
And
Puddle.
Yeah, so like an orgy can be a sex party on its own, but a sex party can have orgies in it.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
So it's like the Venn diagram has. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
like all
Just little groups, like almost in a club. You know how everyone sits near like around a table, so that's
Yeah.
like each orgy happening in a party. Of
all
orgies.
squares are rectangles, not all rectangles are squares.
Right,
So,
whatever.
so at like 5 a.m. we leave. We decide to leave together, and we're holding hands. It's really cute. And I'm like, there's an IHOP around the corner. Do you want? Because I don't want the night to end. Like I am in it. I'm not meeting. I didn't meet someone I wanted to fuck. I was like, I'm so excited to date this person.
Aww.
I really was. If she's probably listening to this because she psychotically, I think, still listens to the podcast, which is a whole different issue. But and she'll probably text me and be like, "No, you never loved me." Whatever. I was like, "Oh my god!" So I was like, "I don't want that. How can I extend the night?" And I'm like, "There's an IHOP around the corner. Do you want to go like get like some pancakes or something?" And if I'm willing to eat carbs in front of you, you know I'm serious. It's a big deal for me. It's a lot of Weight Watchers points, okay, everybody?
Are you still on Weight Watchers? It's
I can't
been
I can't
how many
afford it.
You're not the best endorsement for it.
Wow.
Damn.
Cool. Don't worry. That's fine. That's fine. Neither of us are going to be on the poster. It's okay. If you want to shoot, shots fired.
A lot of shots.
You know what's fucked about Weight Watchers? They had a campaign, Weight Watchers for Men, and the spokesman was Charles Barkley. That's who I have to look up to. That's the best you could afford, Oprah. You got the money for better. Anyways, we walked all the way to this IHOP, and then it was closed. Because I thought it was 24-hour IHOP. It was closed. Oh, well, during the time I get her number, and we part ways. We both walked home. And I lived four subway stops, and I walked it. I literally skipped in the streets.
Oh.
I don't think I've shared these details. Literally, I walked all the way home. Probably took me like an hour to get home. It was great, and then we dated for 22 months. It was great.
And one day. Not that he's counting, but yeah.
It was very close. We ended because
Hold on. Were you in love?
Eventually, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
She was like super mega poly girl. Okay, so like the day I met her, she was bright, bubbly. Like I am Polly Pocket. Like I have poly friends. I go to poly events. I talk about being poly. I've read all the books. I've done the I've done the journaling. I'm great. And I identify more as non-monogamous because I knew about polyamory. I just didn't want to identify it as it because I was like, I'm trying to get one girlfriend before I focus on 7. Does that make sense?
Right.
So I was like, well, non-monogamous, definitely. That I know. I don't know if I'm if I'm capable of loving multiple people, but I'm on a journey. But she was all about the thing, and eventually, so we were in an open relationship, and then things descended to poly. And Matt, you get the life fucking off of me while I'm opening up, being vulnerable. God damn you!
All right, speed it up.
Sorry.
I'm here to help.
Over the course of the relationship, I started becoming more comfortable identifying as polyamorous, and I think over the course of the relationship, she started identifying less and less as poly or non-monogamous. But she, no matter how many, look, I was not the best boyfriend for, let's say, the first year and a half of the 2 years, 22 months, whatever.
So you gave like 3 good months at least, though.
No.
I want to know what that means.
We started dating. We met December 2015, and then we had a breakup in March of 2016, like right or 2017. I can't keep track anymore. Anyway, the point is that like we had a breakup kind of over the poly thing. She wanted to become monogamous, and I just knew I didn't want to do that. We break up, we get back together, and then but that breakup made me realize I could have been better. And I've talked about this on the podcast where like there are things in the relationship I could have been a better boyfriend. I dragged my feet on saying I love you to an inappropriate extent.
Which sounds like you knew you did. You just weren't sharing that with
Right. At this point, I know. Yeah. Well, back then, I knew I loved her when I got on a plane to London, and I thought I was going to die. Because there was something about flying over an ocean. I was like, these planes are good. More like I had this weird fantasy, like if you crash on land, like you might survive. You crash in the ocean, done over. It's finished.
That's how it works.
I just have to ask: is this how guys figure out that they're in love? Like they have to be in love. I'm about to die. Am I in love?
When the bright light comes in, it's like, oh, I do love her. I don't have to keep holding back.
What's happening?
I don't have to keep being an emotional terrorist. I can just say the words. And that's when I knew it. But here's the bad part. So that was September of 2016. And I didn't tell her I loved her till New Year's Eve a few months later.
Can I point
She
out
had
that
already said I love you, by the way. And I dragged my feet probably 3 or 4 months. And that really fucked with her head, it seems.
your eyes are wet right now, and that's really sweet. Like, I just need to point that out. Like, Billy really cares about this, and really cares about you, Paige, if you're listening.
Fuck. Okay.
Sorry, no, but it's true. Like, it's okay. This is what relationships are when you realize how things could have been different.
There will always be a place in my heart that loves her. There have been things that have happened since a breakup that make me go, for the most part, like, fuck her. But there's always a place in my heart that truly cares about her. Uh-huh. I'll just fast forward to like the real breakup because we broke up 3 different times. It really takes a lot to get this stick with me. But the third breakup, I was out in where she's from. I was visiting because she was living out there temporarily. She wanted to go out to her college town in Ohio. Mm-hmm. And earlier that day, though, yay, Ohio, someone, vote better. I don't know what to tell you. I was feeling funky because that morning we had a talk, and once again, this concept about poly versus closing up. And again, it's like, I'm not a monogamous person. And
hold on, though. Isn't that what this whole podcast is about? Is you finding love?
Right. And polyamory means you can love multiple people.
So that's what you're trying to find.
I mean, I'm not trying to find a specific thing other than like love. I'm not trying to find like specifically a girlfriend, but it's like I just know I am capable of having multiple romantic relationships in theory. Like,
did you know that when you started the podcast, or were you looking for monogamy when you started?
I didn't know if I built myself this. I sold myself this weird thing where I was like, oh, I'm not monogamous, but like I want to start monogamous, and then like we will eventually open up or something. And just over the years, talking to people and dating, and I just discovered that wasn't me. So we had a conversation that morning at a breakfast that made me uncomfortable because there had been a lot of these small little nugget conversations that made me think maybe she's not happy in this relationship. Yeah. And I'm like, because I don't want to fucking end it if I'm not sure. And a lot of times when it come up, she'd be like, don't worry, I'm rereading more than 2, or I'm doing this journaling. I'm talking like, it seemed like she was working really hard to stay poly. And I was just starting to notice that's not making her happy. So that morning, I thought we're at like a Denny's like place, but it's so like they don't have a good Denny's.
We got breakfast places all out there. Yeah.
And I the entire day was thinking like I might have to break up with this woman. like today, tomorrow. That was in my head when it happened for the 17th time. So we went through the day, like we went and saw it in theaters, and I couldn't truly enjoy it.
You couldn't enjoy it.
The kid keeps going like, you can fly too. I'm like, do I need to break up with my girlfriend? I don't know. And she kept trying to cheer me up, and then she's like, let's go to my hometown, college town. And I was like, look, I am not like super chipper right now. Our conversation earlier has me thinking about stuff, so I'm happy to go. If that's what you want to do, I'm all for it. Let's go, but like just know that I'm not in a great headspace right now. Mm-hmm. She's like, let's do it. So we drive 3 hours and get there at like midnight. And the whole time I'm thinking like, I don't know if we're gonna be together tomorrow. And just we're out. She's showing me this bar. She's super excited because she's showing me this place that means the world to her. And I'm not also happy. I'm trying, but I'm trying to also not be.
But
faking.
why? My question is why? Is it because you want to be polyamorous and she's monogamous?
No. The trying part was I was trying to be chipper so I don't bring her down, but I'm also not trying to like be fake. And eventually she just got fed up. I was like, you're just not happy. Like fuck this, whatever. I'm going back to the hotel. And it was a big fight. We went to bed. We just went to bed. And I woke up the next morning. And I still have a picture of this. I have a picture of like just the hotel. The hotel's still dark. I'm sorry if I'm not making eye contact with everyone. This like I haven't talked about this story that in depth. Thanks, Alexa, for making me feel safe.
You're welcome.
That actually is great. He's like, I'm opening up like I've never opened before.
I'm sorry if anyone thought this was a comedy show. There's a reason I'm not in the comedy section on iTunes. Okay.
Oh my God.
That morning, I have this picture of the hotel room, and she's still asleep. I had woken up earlier, and I went to the bathroom, and I took a picture. It's mostly dark. You can kind of tell. And it's like, I was like, I knew I'm breaking up with her when we get back to Pittsburgh.
Which is
a 3-hour drive.
But
it's the call. It's like, that was just,
You can't break up and then drive 3 hours. That's not good.
Oh, but that's what happened, clearly. Billy, why? What a
wow.
stupid.
Give me the benefit of the doubt here. Listen to the story.
Oh, well, halfway through, so an hour and a half through.
We wake up. So I saw this picture of that moment because I know that's what's going to happen. So we get in the car, and then just she's upset still, and I'm saying like I don't want to like rewrite history on it. So I don't remember if I said anything super shitty, but I really don't think I did. I really kept trying to be calm because I knew what I was going to do at the end of the car ride, a 3-hour car ride. And it just got to the point where I was like, that's not cool. And then she just ended. She's like, fuck this. No, we're done. Like, we started shouting at each other in the car to the point that she's just like, fuck this. And she tries to open the door.
I've done that.
We're driving.
While the car's moving?
40 miles an hour.
I've done that so many times.
Did you get the door adjacent? Like, did you actually get it open?
Yeah, but then again, I have mental issues.
Oh, we know.
Yeah, we do.
So I'm going 40 miles an hour. The door's not unlocked. It is open. Her seatbelt's off. I have to Jason Statham like grab her and pull her in just to keep her in the car.
Wow.
And so she's broken up. We are broken up. And now we have 3 hours in a car together.
God.
And then 2 hours in, we hit some traffic.
I like her. She's fun.
I liked her too.
Sounds fun.
We didn't hit traffic like your like silly LA traffic where it's just like slow for like 10 minutes. It was standstill because a tractor trailer was across the entire highway. There was some and I'm so glad she said it because I was thinking it. She starts giggling and goes like, it was one day we're going to look back on this and laugh really hard. I'm like, oh, well, thank God. Because like I was going to put in a script one day. So
I was just thinking, I was like, this would be a great.
Yeah.
It's like we're going to have a race to see who can write the rom-com first.
One day we're going to have a podcast. Billy, you are, and you're going to share this. No, it is. It's true.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
So then it ends up being a 4-hour car ride and total. And but by the time of it, I think it was the standstill traffic. There's a lot of can I borrow your left hand?
Oh Lord.
There was a lot of like hand holding, touching, stuff like that. Like a lot of this, like this silent this. Also, I want to make Alexa uncomfortable for laughing at me right before I was going to cry. There's a lot. So by the time Matthew, I'm going to fucking kill you.
For those of you listening at home,
it's my fault.
I keep getting a light from my
it's my
producer.
Fault.
By the time we got there, there was a lot of just like it stopped being an angry breakup, started being like a sad acknowledgement that we shouldn't be together.
These are the steps of grief.
Right.
You're just going through them over a 4-hour drive.
Yeah. So by the time we left, there's like kissings and I love you. I think my like last words to her were like, if you love yourself half as much as I love you, you're gonna be okay.
Aww. This is a movie. Yeah, I like this.
To be fair, she said sweet things too, but like I was full of tears and I drive out and I drive from Pittsburgh back to the East Coast. So that was and that's how that ultimately ended. I think it was just because like she didn't want to be poly, but then there was just a lot of angry breakup stuff where. I think that me dragging my feeling that I love you was the beginning of a mind fuck for her that just never ended because she just continuously, she would like, for 6 months, she would text me like at random times between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m., which I took guesses of what that involved, and just call me a sociopath and a psychopath, and I never loved her and all that. And I just really, I was like, she is hurting and I'm going to take this on the chin. And if anyone who knows me closely, I do not take shit on the chin that I don't think I deserve. I don't think I deserve this pain. I don't think I deserve those types of that treatment. But for her, I was like, I'm going to take that for her and only her. Through me, she had never had a poly relationship. She was always a poly person dating and fucking poly people, but never like a true, like she never had like a boyfriend or girlfriend that was truly that. And I think she just discovered through me she didn't want that.
Poly, I think I've never been poly or been in a poly relationship, but I think the hard part can be everyone being on the same page, and it sounds like y'all were on 2 different pages.
And then when we finally got on it, the book had been so worn that like the covers falling off and shit like that. And it was.
Well, I'm gonna be the devil's.
That's fucking deep, dude.
Fuck you.
I'm gonna be the devil's advocate here and say that I don't know if you gave her. You said she was trying hard. You know, you said she was trying really hard to be poly, but I don't know if you really gave her a chance to be it.
Oh, she had a lot. I mean, like I said, she was the Polly Pocket with all these partners and things going on.
Oh, so she.
Oh no, she was doing that. She had people in her life. I think she realized she didn't want when she was truly in love with someone. She didn't want to share me with, unless it was like a fun threesome. I would imagine that it was like. She's cool with that, but she didn't want me dating and falling in love with other people. I think that's, and I might be wrong. She can text me and tell me otherwise, but like it seemed that was the case.
And this is coming from someone who's not poly, but is interested in trying to understand.
You're interested in poly?
No, I'm trying to understand.
Don't tell her.
Because I'd be like, you have a boyfriend, but like, hey, girl, hey.
No, I meant like, if you're in love with somebody, do you really want to share them? You know, to be honest.
That is a person-to-person answer.
Did you? So you wanted to? You didn't want just to be in like sexual situations with her. You wanted to have relationships outside of her. Or?
We did the first like a year and a half, I think, or so of the relationship. Non-monogamous, but not poly, so like no dating other people.
Well, that's why I'm trying to figure, because poly can mean so many different things.
But yeah, but she wanted to date other people, and I was the one like saying, "Can we just slow down?" I was about to quit my day job to do this full time. Thank you, my patrons.
Woo woo.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm just not going to have the ability to do all the communication and whatnot that involves that. So like, I was like, we can do poly, but let's like hold it off a bit. And then we did do that, and then I think that's when she realized she didn't. Want to. So,
that can be a mind fuck in and of itself, outside of anyone else. It can be mind fucked with your own identity, with your own everything else. I don't know. Like, if I only ever had to be in love once, that would have been ideal for me. But instead, like, we fall in love a lot and we fuck up, and we look back and we go, "What would have happened if I hadn't fucked up?" But the real truth is, we wouldn't know because we wouldn't have been in that situation. We wouldn't have been that person. We wouldn't have been with that person. And ultimately, a lot of learning experiences that are also great experiences / things that make you want to text the person in the middle of the night that they're a sociopath. So.
I've wanted to text. I've just wanted to text her so much, like recently. You ever like anyone here ever miss going home to someone?
Oh, yeah.
Not miss being in a relationship, just like you miss going home to a person, and then you like going home to an empty bed doesn't seem nice, and that was the thing. That's the thing I'm currently missing. That's the thing I wish I had. That would be. I swear, I am gonna fucking kill you. I am gonna punch you in the fucking mouth, you heartless bastard.
Okay, if you didn't hear that Billy was talking to Matt, it wasn't anything about his girl.
Well, you know what's funny is Matt has only 2 time things. He's only supposed. He's given me more than I instructed him to give me. So now this is all optional.
Matt's doing a great job.
Yeah.
Give it up for Matt.
No, don't you dare. I will say this: hurt people hurt people.
Yeah, good
And
call.
that's
call.
just a rough thing. Yeah, again, guys, not a comedy show. Hi, I'm some slutty boy thing.
Slutty boy thing.
Well, Alexa, we can talk some more about the love and relationships. I've been looking. If I've been stalling, it's because I'm waiting for. Is Jennifer here?
She's not coming.
No?
It's like
Okay.
every sex relationship.
Yeah, she's a no-show, it looks like.
Wow, guys, I told you this is a tough
Yeah,
sell.
she's not
A lot of
here.
people ask me when I tell them the premise of the show, they're like, your exes are down to do that?
That's
and I'm
cool.
like, not everybody.
Yeah.
And then to do on stage is a
And
pretty...
let's talk about the definition of ex.
I told you, ex-lover, ex-partner,
I
ex-hookup.
like her. She's fun.
Because she hates me? Okay, cool.
Yeah, you're not a comic, right?
well-
You're not a. Are you an actress?
Yeah,
Okay. She's funny.
Okay, do you two want to just go fuck and I'll stay up here and cry?
So we
I'll-
can't mutually respect each other without wanting to fuck. Is that what you're saying, Belly?
There we
To
go.
quote Jim Jeffries...
Also, if you want to fuck, I'm down. So
Look, to quote Jim Jeffries, there are things that I think and there are things that I think are funny to say. Whatever.
right. Okay. Touche.
Well, look, there's supposed to be a third guest on the show. There is a poster that says it. I paid money for the poster to say it.
It's okay. Life happens.
Well, we're gonna-
you have two awesome women
I
up
think
here,
it's
so it's fine.
actually interesting. Like to some degree, I think it's interesting that this person didn't show up, and I think that speaks a lot.
Well, we've
about,
talked
you know,
about her because
yeah.
you wanted to know the dirt. Because I was actually prepared to confront this human.
This human. Maybe that's why she's not here.
Well, she doesn't know that. I mean, look, I do have a partner of mine is in the audience, so I'm gonna actually bring up Kenzie.
Is she okay?
Who's,
Yay,
yeah, Kenzie's gonna come up. Everyone, give it up for Kenzie. If y'all want to scoot down a chair.
Yeah, I gotta get these out of the way. Hold up.
Kenzie's been on the podcast before. Y'all may have heard her. Kenzie, what's up? Hi.
Is this how you're breaking up with me? That's what the poster said.
Are y'all leaving? Yeah, stay on up.
No, don't leave me alone with this.
Kenzie and I are in like, so we're currently in like a relationship of sorts. I don't know how to define it. It's a
Wait,
thing.
what? Really?
It's not.
Wow, calling her out
Kenzie's-
on
well,
stage in front of people
She's
with people
okay.
taking
Kenzie's not-
photographs.
She's not my girlfriend, but like she's like one of my like a very dear friend, and I love her.
like-
Fan
a girl
with
who's
benefits.
What?
He called
Fan
you.
with benefits.
Oh, gotcha.
He called you a lady friend, which I always use when I'm like fucking someone.
To give her credibility, though, I did say if I have to bring you up, if this person
okay.
doesn't show because she's kind of flaky, Can you please share with the audience 3 things you don't like about me?
Okay.
And then you all know she's willing to be honest.
Wait, did I get to do that?
No, because we already know.
Do this?
I feel
That's
like
not
you-
fair.
Okay, you just like got like really emotional up here, so I feel a little guiltier about
Bring it
doing
on.
this. All right, so one we've talked about, but it's especially important for me. You're a fucking picky eater. If we ever were,
You can't go deeper than picky eater.
No, I'm starting.
She
I'm
is
starting
right now.
soft, honey.
Oh. Always start with the small butt plug and work your way
yeah,
up.
small butt plug. You're a picky eater. If we lived on the same coast and even had the opportunity to be in a real relationship, I wouldn't. Partly because of that, because I could never introduce you to
Whatever.
my family.
I wouldn't date you either.
I couldn't introduce you to my family. Second, I get a lot of secondhand embarrassment watching your social media when you're sad. It's rough. I'm like kind of the person who's prone to that. The way you subtweeted a little bit after the cubbyhole incident.
What?
Wow, you want to bring you really want to go there?
We can go there.
I mean, well, actually, I know. I thought that was a really.
And the third thing is you're
We're
not
watching
a
a
great
breakup
kisser.
on stage.
I'm just happy there was. I'm just happy the camera guy didn't get a shot of me pointing like this at her.
Yeah.
That would not look good.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're like middle of the road as far as kissing goes.
Oh.
That's the one I knew would be rough.
That's a genuine shock.
That is.
I thought that was one of my few strong suits.
Aww. Well, she didn't say like bottom of the line. She said middle.
Terrible.
It's kind of coming back
Still
to me
stay
now.
in the Airbnb tonight.
I'm like, oh.
I thought you were just gonna be like, well, you're also really problematic and say words that you shouldn't. Like, oh wow, you insulted my kissing.
Yeah.
It's all about connecting. The kissing is all about connecting.
Kissing is hard.
So do we
It's
not
hard.
connect?
Jill, I'm putting you on the spot here. Come
Yeah,
on.
Kenzie.
Oh.
Do we not connect?
I didn't say the kissing was all about connecting.
Oh,
Okay.
that's a good point.
Oh, I guess
That was her that said
to
that,
each
yeah.
their own, I suppose.
Do either of you two remember making? Well, we know you don't remember anything.
Well,
We
I
get
was
it.
going to ask if we did kiss because most of the time I don't, so I wasn't
No,
sure.
because there's no way I'm going up to someone's place if we don't make out. Because that's like my.
So we did make out.
my-
Didn't I blow you in a cab?
Oh my God, you did! I forgot.
I only
God.
know that because you told me on the podcast.
It's been years since that podcast. I totally forgot. Oh yeah, you did. You totally
so
did.
we made out too, I guess.
And I
Okay.
think that was another one of those, like, if you grab my cock over my jeans, the cock will at least come out to see what's going on.
At least it wasn't an Uber. It was like a cab. So
Yeah, it was a
I
cab.
forget about
In
that.
New York
Okay.
City, we have like actual barriers. It's not like just some dude who pretends you're not fucking
Right.
in the back seat. Do you remember making out with me?
I do.
What? How's my kissing?
It was good.
Thank fucking God.
It was good.
Yeah.
There's amazing, and then there's good.
No. At this point,
there's
I won't
fair.
take good.
There's average.
Bad. I just have high standards. All my other partners right now are really good kissers.
Okay. That'll be a fight later. It's not. Sorry.
Why later? Why later? Let's do it now.
Sorry, we're poly. We don't have fights. We have conversations or whatever.
Oh, that's so cute.
No,
Well, actually, the cubbyhole incident, it's funny you brought it up, was actually a really cool moment of, like, there was communication. Like, do you want to explain what happened?
All
And
right.
then we can talk about how
right.
beautiful it was.
Yeah, it was
Cubbyhole
actually not a bad
I know.
incident other than the
It sounds
fact that it's
so
like, oh, it's my first time being subtweeted by Billy. This is a milestone in our relationship. I was visiting New York. So I live in California. I live in Northern California. I was visiting New York. I was staying with Billy. Like, I'm queer. He wanted to take me to Cubbyhole.
Cubbyhole's a...
Oh, that's
which
what you're
is a
talking about.
lesbian bar.
Okay.
And I started making out with this girl, and I wanted to go home. She wanted me to go home with her. She was very forward, and I was like, yeah, this is great. This is awesome. I've never had a one-night stand with a woman. Like, it's so easy to have casual sex with dudes, and so I was like, this is so exciting. And so I went up to Billy and I was like, hey, is this okay if I go home with her? It was our last night together in New York, which was kind of a dick move for me. And so I was like, hey, are you okay with this? And he was like, yeah, go for it. And then I'm like in the Uber on the way there with her, about to go have sex with her. And I get a bunch of texts from Billy who was like, hey, I am not okay with this. I messed up.
I like instinctively just like, yeah, sure. Like, you seem so happy. Like, I want you to go. You seem thrilled. And then I looked at the time and it was like, oh, it's like really late. Like,
Open.
And then I realized like I was like missing her.
So yeah, I was like, shit, like, maybe I just did get a little like caught up in this excitement, like a random person versus like a person who's been in my life for a while and I'm very connected to. So I was like, okay, I'll go over there for a little bit and then I'll go back to your place. And I went, had this quickie, like, had to explain to this very lesbian girl that was like,
She was very lesbian.
yeah, it's like,
Picture lesbian and then add more lesbian.
yeah, which was great. My first and only time scissoring someone. It was awesome. And so, yeah, I had to be like, there's this dude who wants me back. She judged me a little bit for that.
Yeah.
But then I bailed and went back. And we had a nice conversation. And it was good. You were very mature about it. Like, it wasn't a fight. But on the way back, like, in the Uber, I was looking at Twitter. I was like, oh, Billy's sad tweeting about me.
Yeah, I don't subtweet. I sad tweet. That's what it
it wasn't a subtweet because I wasn't. Yeah,
Billy,
it wasn't a
stop
fight,
doing that,
But it was a
please.
sad tweet, and yeah, that
You're
kind
never-
of stuff does make me cringe sometimes.
You have to. You can't find love that way.
Yeah.
But that's you. Like you. I mean, that's what this podcast is
guess
you
so.
living very openly about sex and relationships and emotion. And I think that like it's kind of like being in a relationship with someone on a reality show. To some degree, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, are you saying that my brand is being sad?
No, I'm saying your brand is being open and not holding back. And like at the time, if you are sad, I feel like it's something that you share publicly to some degree.
Which is kind of cool because guys
Yeah.
don't really do that.
Yeah,
so.
honestly, I think that's a really good point. That it's better that you can even talk about it.
Again,
than
you
just,
think
like-
it's great until you date the guy who's just, who's like overly emotional, and they're
Nah,
like,
I'm good,
oh, can you
thanks."
just butch up a little?
Yeah, right.
Like build a bed or
Butch
something. Well, do you have any reaction to what we've been talking about so far? I feel like you can call bullshit more than anyone.
Oh boy. God. it put
We've
me
been
on
close
spot.
like a good chunk of time.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
anything that stood out.
man, now you're putting me on the spot. Not in particular.
You just told me I'm a bad kisser. Everything else should be easy.
How about just follow it up with something good?
Oh, that's a really good thing. Yeah.
Well, I'm okay with that, but let's just take a moment. Does Billy's ego need to be inflated any more than it is?
Just give him a little bit, and then take it away later if you need to.
It could always be bigger.
I mean, I know. I think because we started talking around the time of your first breakup with
With Paige, the first of 3.
Yeah.
I know you're nervous to say the name because you say it 3 times. She, puts a post on Facebook.
She is,
We talked about her a little.
Yeah,
So I don't know if you heard that.
Yeah. I don't want anyone coming after me on Twitter. Yeah. I mean, we started talking around the time of your first breakup with Paige, and just connecting further and further through all of those experiences with her and the person who came after her, and then our first sort of like conflict with the cubbyhole incident is like really seeing it wasn't really a fight,
The incident.
and I
That's
think
just
I
so
expected it to be. One of the things I always thought, like I was nervous as I was getting close to you, was seeing the way you handled conflict with previous partners, like actually really intimidated me. I'm not a confrontational person. I back down. Like, I don't like to fight. And
then you see me get into like real big fights.
yeah, and like that's kind of scary. Like, I don't want to be blasted on social media. And seeing your growth as a person through all of these conflicts, and then finally when I was the person who could have potentially been on the receiving end of something that blew up a lot more, honestly, I think I was more in the wrong than with that incident, considering it was our last night together on, we live on opposite coasts. Like, I think I was more in the wrong than you let on, like, than you claimed. And the fact that we handled that so well just spoke to a lot of your growth as a person over these dating experiences and this podcast and having been a listener for a while.
Sure. Well, look, if anyone asks, though, I'm still a problematic bad person.
yeah, for sure.
I have a rep to
for
maintain.
sure.
Okay, I'm trying to set the bar nice and low. But thank you for that.
that was nice.
Yeah,
I
that was
like
a sweet
this.
thing. Yeah. Closing thoughts. Do you have closing thoughts, Alexa?
Yes.
Take it where you want it to take it. But what would be your closing thoughts on either us, this right here, or any of the topics we've been talking about? Anything you want to say before we go?
Well, I guess I just have a question for you. Do you know what you want now?
I mean, it's always the same. I think it just looks different. It's looked differently. Love is always the thing I want. I mean, just being in love is like, it's the balls or the tubes, whatever you want to say. I don't care. It's so great. It can take different shapes. And I think one of the biggest things I've taken away is just been, shit can be whatever the fuck you want to be. Relationships can be whatever you want it to be. Sex can look like what you want it to be. It can be penis and vagina. It could be dildoing a hairy asshole in a very messy dorm room.
No one likes you, Billy.
I know, it's fine. And love can look like monogamy. It could be a polyamorous thing. Love could be a really close friend that you don't know what the fuck to say when you're trying to describe you to people. So yeah, I still want love. It's just I'm taking it connection by connection of how it looks. Yeah.
Okay.
Jessica, closing thoughts. You'll get to plug your Twitter handle later.
No,
don't worry.
I wasn't going to do that. No, in all honesty, I'm going to give out. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate that. This has been fun, and it's been really interesting to hear from other people. My parents have been married 45 years, and my mom always says relationships are really hard, even when they're great. So I think that this has been really a reminder of just the different levels of relationships and how hard they are. And it's been interesting for me to listen to y'all talk about stuff. So thanks for letting me be here.
Thanks for coming. Kenzie, closing thoughts?
Well, I think that's the first time I've really heard the story of you and Paige getting together in as much detail and as raw as you've told.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it was great. Like, I was there for the breakups, but, like, not the beginning. And I don't know, I feel like you know me, like I fall in love at the drop of a hat, and you told that story, and it sounded like so did you, but you didn't. You were, I don't know, like afraid of it in some way, and I guess now that you've realized that, I just really want that to happen for you again in a way. Now that you're more open to it, because I've seen that growth in you.
You're growing up, Billy.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Mom.
Is that nice enough to make up for what I said?
No, it's okay. We'll talk about it later.
Honestly, sorry, I didn't really have a closing thought. I just asked you a question and you went on a tirade. So I just wanted to say that
Alexa, you were way nicer in 2012. That's just,
LA has gotten to me. No, I'm kidding.
Women don't have to be
It's
nice.
changed
It's
you.
okay.
I love you, Billy, and I'll always be here for you.
thank you.
Seriously, you're doing great, and you will find love. If I can find it, you can find it.
But can we acknowledge that you have? And
he
maybe
has.
it's okay that you have and you will continue to, and that it's always hard.
Yes.
Even when it lasts for a long, long, long time beyond, when it lasts 23 months, it's hard too. Like love is hard, but it's okay to have been in love with not only multiple people at the same time, but just multiple people across the board.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Well,
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all, by the way.
Thanks for letting us
For
talk.
being here. You're all fantastic. Whoever's still here, you're great. I want to give a shout out to the Dojo of Comedy for having us here today. Fun spot. I want to give a shout out to my producer, who I'm gonna. We're in a fight, but Matt Slayer, he has a podcast himself. It's called "And Now We Drink." And after all those unnecessary lightings, I don't feel bad that I've never listened to it. But I hear it's great. And then thank you for Motor Bunny for sponsoring this.
Hold on, we all get one now? Like all three of us?
I mean, they're like $1,000.
Yeah, when you said $50, I was like, yeah, that doesn't sound like it's going to help me much.
Finance that shit.
Finance
Come
it,
on.
right?
Finance
Repo.
it, yeah. And I want to thank Kenzie for last minute filling
Yeah.
in because someone just didn't show up. And I love you, and thanks.
Love you.
Yeah.
We love you, Billy.
Everyone, get home safe.
I appreciate you as a person. Okay, cool. Thanks.